let's begin by coming to a comfortable seat. And take a few moments to just wiggle and jiggle around a little and notice sensations in your body and how you feel. Notice the quality of your breath, the thoughts as they pass. Take a few moments to tune into the breath. Begin to elongate through the spine, feeling the crown of the head directly over the sits bones. Then start to take some circles all the way around. We'll really press forward and then really round through the spine and the back. Yeah, good. Then we'll start to match the breath with the movement. So we exhale when we're rounding the back and inhale on the front. And then reverse your circle. Inhale as you forward and go around, and exhale as you round through the spine and the back. Feeling the articulation through the hips, feeling the low back as you tilt and tuck through the pelvis, feeling the shoulders begin to warm up as we round through the upper back and then front. Come back to center, slowly slowing down the circles, and take a breath and observe. Then take the right hand over the top of the head to the left ear. We'll get into some neck stretches. Take the right ear down to the right shoulder. I'll just breathe here. Staying really lifted through the sternum, lifted through the abs, and letting the top of the shoulder drop down away from the ears. And then switch. Take the left hand up and overhead and drop the left ear down to the left shoulder. Breathing into the right side of the neck. With every exhale, letting the shoulders drop down a little bit more. We'll take another breath on this side. On an inhale, we'll come back to center. Bring the hands back down. Take a breath. On your next inhale, get really tall and really long through the spine. And then exhale, twist over towards the right. Bringing the right hand back behind you and the left hand to the left knee. Getting into a little twist on this side. We'll stay really lifted through the spine. So using that back hand, the right hand, to press you up maybe a little bit taller, a little bit straighter. And then the twist coming from the rib cage. The head looks over gently to follow along, but most of the twisting is through the ribs. With every inhale, reach up a little bit taller through the crown of the head. And with every exhale, sink the shoulders down a little bit more. Inhale, come back to center. Take a breath. Inhale, reach up through the crown of the head, get really, really tall and long. And then exhale, twist over towards the left. Reaching the left rib cage, really open towards the left. And taking that left hand and using that to press down and lift up out of the spine, a little bit taller. Keeping the crown of the head lined up over the sit bones so that we keep that integrity of the spine, keeping it long and tall from the crown of the head to the tip of the tailbone, even as we reach sideways with the ribs. Inhale back to center. And take a slow breath out, slowly releasing all the breath. Bring the soles of the feet together into our butterfly pose. I'll bring the hands to the ankles and lift up really tall again, pressing the chest forward, lifting up from the navel center. And then as we gently tip forward, keep that really straight spine. So we're not going to round over. We're just going to tip just so as far as you can come and keep that flat back. So it may not be that far. For me, it's not that far. You know, maybe you can really go forward, then go for it. But for me to keep this straight back, it's just a little bit. And then we can wiggle the sit bones out a little bit. Scoot them back so that we can tilt the pelvis forward. And then notice if maybe you have a little bit more room to keep that flat back even as we just tip forward slightly. Keeping the ears lined up over the shoulders. Scoot the chin back a little bit in space. And then we'll go ahead and round over. And drop the head, drop the shoulders, let them melt down to the sides. Like they're falling away from the spine. And feel the widening through the low back here. Take another breath. And then press yourself back up. And we'll bring the knees together and send the feet out long in front of you into our staff pose. And we'll kind of rotate the inner thighs so that our toes are together, our big toes are together. Feet really together. And then lift up through the crown of the head again, finding like a silvery cord that flows through your center line, right from that tailbone all the way up, following your spine through center. It helps shift that head back in space a little, drawing up straight from the crown of the head. And then we'll inhale, lift up through the arms, reach for the sky in our staff pose. And then exhale, we'll bend the knees and come forward. And just fall forward here, keeping the knees together but bent. We'll take a breath to soften through the shoulders, keeping the navel hugging up and in, allowing for some expansion through the low back. And inhale, lift back up and reach up through the fingertips. And exhale, we'll lower the hands. Take a breath. Then shift onto one side. We'll come to our tabletop position, back onto all fours. Shoulders over wrists and hips over knees. getting into our cat-cow. So we'll inhale, send the navel towards the knees and pull the shoulder blades together. And exhale, round through the low back, then arching through the whole spine, tucking in the chin. Inhale, dropping the belly down even as it stays engaged, pulling the shoulder blades together. Exhale, round through the spine. One more time, inhale, reaching forward with the heart space. And exhale, lifting the navel up high, widening through the shoulder blades. And then bring it back to center. And then we'll tuck the toes, lift the hips high and back into downward facing dog. Shifting the hips back a little bit, pressing down through the heels. And take the hands out wide. And drop the head, drop the shoulders, shake them out. And then really let the heart space melt towards the knees. We'll take a breath in our down dog. And then begin to pedal through the feet, bending one knee and then the other. Walk the feet up to meet the hands. We'll hang in our forward fold. Really dropping the head, dropping the shoulders. Let the whole upper body hang. And shifting the toes so that they're pointing forward directly parallel. Rotating the inner thighs together, hugging up through the abs, pulling the navel up and in. And take any little movements here, maybe side to side. Notice as we swish side to side how it opens up through the low back. Or clasping the hands behind the head, giving a little space for the neck, or possibly grasping opposite elbows, allowing for some more space between the shoulder blades. Take a few more breaths to find your adventure here in this pose. And then inhale, halfway lift, drawing the hands to the thighs, hugging in the elbows. Find that long back feeling. Reaching the crown of the head forward, like your back is one big plank. And then press the shoulders down. So press the elbows towards the hips. Take another, hug the navel up and in. Ears still in line with the shoulders. Exhale, drop it back down to forward fold. Inhale, lift all the way up, reach for the sky. Exhale, float down, hinging. Send the hips back first, long back, float all the way down, forward fold. Plant the palms, take the left foot back. We'll come down onto the left knee for just a moment. Inhale, lift up through the arms, reach up, pulling the right hip back. Exhale, bring the hands back down to frame the right foot. Lift up on the left toes. And slide the right foot back into our plank pose. Hugging up through the navel, feeling it pull forward, up and in. Wide through the shoulder blades. And then shift forward, bending at the elbows, keeping that long back. Slowly lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, lift the chest up into cobra. Exhale, float back down. Tuck the toes. Take a breath. Exhale, propel yourself up through all fours to plank. And then hips high and back, downward facing dog. Take a breath, maybe shake something out a little here. And slide the left foot between the hands. And come down on the right knee. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reach for the sky, slide the left hip back. Exhale, come back down, frame the left foot. Lift up on the right toes. Slide the left foot back. And we find our plank pose again. Sending the navel up and in. Finding that long line again. Feeling as if the crown of the head lined up all the way down, making a slide. And slowly lower belly. Inhale, lifting the chest, pulling the elbows back. Exhale. Take a breath. And exhale, press up through plank. And then hips up high and back. Back to our down dog. Take a breath, recenter. I'm going to switch sides, but you can stay where you're at. Then lift through the right foot. We'll come into our three-legged dog. Grounding down into the left foot. Reach up for the sky. And then pull the right foot back down and through all the way between the hands. We'll plant the left heel down and then cartwheel open to warrior two. So we'll sweep the arms up and the left hand goes back. Right knee over right ankle. And reaching through the fingertips of the right hand. Drop the shoulders down, lengthen through the tailbone. And we'll take a look at our knee. The right knee, aim it for that second toe. And take a breath here. Exhale, bring the right elbow down to the right knee and reach up through the left hand. Our extended side angle. Keeping that left shoulder stacked over the right. Looking up towards the left fingertips. Take one more breath. And then inhale, lift through the left fingertips to draw you back up to our warrior two. Straighten through the right leg. And we'll tip the right hand over, coming to our triangle pose. So we'll take the right hand, palm facing outward, and reach up through the left hand, stacking the left shoulder over the right, and looking up towards the left fingertips. And then maybe inching the right hand down a little, sliding it down, and then slide it back up. Exhale, slide the right hand down a little bit down the leg. And then inhale, slide it up a little higher. One more time, we slide the right hand down. And then slide it back up, lifting through the side. So really feeling these side muscles doing the work to lift you and lower you. And then take it all the way back up. Sink into our warrior two, bending through the right knee. We'll take a breath. Inhale, straighten the legs and reach up to the sky. And then we'll switch the toes. So we'll bring the toes parallel first. Reaching up tall into our star pose. And then shift the left heel back so that we come to our left foot pointing out forward, getting ready to switch sides. And then as you're ready, we'll bend through the left knee, bring the arms halfway down, coming to our warrior two on this side. Left knee over left ankle, right foot back at a 45-degree angle, lengthening the tailbone, lifting the navel up and in, reaching through those fingertips. Really sending the fingertips out long, actively through the arms. And then taking a look at our left knee. See that it's tracking in line with about that second toe. Exhale, bring the left hand down to the left knee and then reach up through the right. Coming into our extended side angle on this side, left knee still bent, reaching up for the sky. We'll take a breath in our extended side angle and then using the right fingertips to pull us back up, back to warrior two. We'll take a breath. Straighten through the left knee and then tip over, bringing the left hand to the front of that left shin, palm facing out, reaching up through the right arm. Our triangle flow on this side. As we pull that right hip maybe back towards the right heel a little bit more. And then as you exhale, slide the left fingers down a little bit. And then inhale, slide them back up. Seeing if we can have this motion as we slide down and slide back up, coming from just below the rib cage, all along the side muscles, lifting on the inhale and sinking on the exhale. And one more time, coming all the way back up with your inhale and sinking the knee back into our warrior two. I'll pause here for a moment. Letting the shoulders drop. And then turning both toes to face forward. Reach up for the sky. Come back to our star pose. Exhale, float the fingertips down. And then heel toe the feet together. We'll take a breath. Maybe wiggling and jiggling and shaking something out. Noticing what feels like it needs to move and allowing for that movement. And then we'll find stillness in our mountain pose. We'll take a breath to observe our strong mountain. We're finding very still, steady mountain, so rooted, like you could press roots down from your feet into the ground, lifting at the kneecaps, lifting the abs, pressing down through the fingertips, opening the fingers wide like starfish, really feeling the engagement through the fingers, pressing down through the shoulders, lifting up through the chest. Find such a strong mountain that even if someone came and tried to push you over, they couldn't push you over. And then feel as if you were energetically pressing the feet apart. So it's as if you could pull the mat apart with your feet. Feel the whole legs engage. Keep breathing. Take another breath here. And then just soften through the legs, soften through the knees, soften through the hands. Find that little bit of release then. And then I'll shift over to the side, to the short edge of the mat, so that we can get into a flow. Inhale, lift up and reach up. Baby back bend here. And exhale, hinging at the hips again, taking it down with a flat back, going through our halfway lift and then floating all the way down into our forward fold. Really shaking out the head. Take a breath. Your next inhale, lift up halfway. Long back, long neck. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the palms and send the left foot back. Staying up on the left toes this time. We'll rock a little side to side into this hip. Giving it a little round through. Then plant the palms, take the right foot back, come back through our plank pose. Inhale, widen through the shoulder blades. Exhale, slowly lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, float back. Take a breath. Hollow you up through plank, and then hips high and back, down dog. Take a breath to rotate the inner thighs towards each other and the shoulders rotate away from each other. Then slide the left foot between the hands. We'll stay lifted on the right knee and then just swaying a little side to side on this side. Take a breath, feeling any sensations that come up here. Where are you noticing? What are you noticing in the back, in the thighs, in the feet, the arms? What do you feel? And then bouncing a little through the right knee, we'll bounce the right foot up to meet the left, coming into our forward fold. Drop the head. Then inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, wide and all the way up. Exhale, press the air away as we claw through the fingertips and come to our mountain pose. Then bring the feet out wide. Really wide, and then we'll inhale and sweep the arms up again, and exhale, hinge at the hips and send them back and keep that flat back as we start to lower, keeping the arms up by the ears. Come to a flat back in our wide-legged stance, hugging up through the abs, and then really sending the hips back, engaging through the glutes. Feel the glutes turn on, the knees slightly bent. And then really reach forward in our full flat back. And then exhale, take it all the way down. Forward, wide-legged forward fold. Dropping the shoulders now. Sending the weight a little bit back into the heels. Maybe widening the legs if comfortable. Come to your wide-legged forward fold. And dropping the head wherever it will. And take a few breaths. And then maybe you bring your feet in a little bit. And we'll lift up halfway. Come to our flat back, half lift, and bring the hands to the hips. Pressing the hips down and back like you can pull the spine a little bit longer. And see if you can find a little bit of more length here. And breathe, feeling that flat back of the neck. So maybe lifting up through the back of the neck. And then bending through the left knee, we'll come into our wide side lunge, bringing the hands down for support and then lifting the right toes for the sky. And then walking the hands back to center, and bending through the right knee, lifting the left toes up. And then walking back through center. Let your head fall forward, back to our forward fold for just a breath. Then inhale, we'll sweep all the way up, coming from the navel. See if you can come from the navel center to reach all the way up overhead. And exhale, press the air away, bringing the hands down. And then without looking down, we'll try to heel toe the feet together. See feelingly, finding the feet really together. And coming into a really rooted mountain pose. Really ground the left foot down so that we can lift the right foot, coming into our tree pose. So taking the right foot out to the side, either to a kickstand or the calf or somewhere above or below the knees, so we don't press into the knee joint. So we don't want to press into the kneecap at all. We don't want any pressure because the knee does not want to go sideways. And then we'll bring either the hands to the heart or reaching them up for the sky. Finding support here in your tree pose. And finding a place on the floor in front of you that's not moving. You can maybe gaze just like a few feet in front of you or straight ahead, whichever is most comfortable. And we'll work into this for another breath. And then exhale, we'll slowly with grace fold down, fold down, and then shake it out. Rotating through the ankles, wrists, maybe pedaling through the feet. And as you're ready, when you're satisfied with your movements, we'll come back to center. And find that grounded feeling, really pressing down through the feet, feeling all four corners of the feet making contact with the ground. Widening through the shoulder blades, or through the front of the shoulders, through the collarbones. Feeling them widen and then soften. And lifting up through the front body. Sliding down through the back body. We'll find that groundedness through the right foot and then start to peel up through the left, up to the side here, somewhere above or below the knee, just so we're not pressing sideways on the knee joint. It does not like to play that direction. And then again, we'll find our balance on this side. Allowing the jaw to relax and the shoulders to relax. Finding your center. We'll take a few more breaths on this side. Growing a little bit taller through the crown, lengthening through the low back. Staying really in the body. And take one more breath on this side, and then we'll begin to very slowly start to come out, come back down to the ground, and then shake everything out. Give it a big shake or a little shake, just kind of feel it out. Maybe even through the hips, maybe through the head. Shoulders, giving everything like a full shake out. As you're ready, we'll begin to find that stillness again and get ready by facing the short edge of the mat here, getting ready for our flow. Taking a moment to pause. Then inhale, lift up, reach up to the sky, maybe sending the hips a little bit forward, looking up. And exhale, float all the way back down, arms out wide. Inhale, halfway lift, draw the elbows towards the side body. And exhale, forward fold. Plant the palms, send the left foot back. We'll stay up on these left toes. And then we'll slide the right toes out a little bit farther to the side and bring the left hand onto the inside, coming into our lizard pose. And we can drop down to the left knee here. And then we'll sink into this side, maybe rocking a little side to side in our lizard. And breathing into this side. Maybe making little circles or just side to side, or even I like to make little figure eights, like not a figure eight, but like an infinity sign. Side to side. You can really start to get into both hips that way when you get into this little infinity. And then we'll come back to stillness, bringing us back into our lizard. Then press down through the left hand and reach up through the right hand and twist open towards the right. And then bring it back down and press into the right hand and lift up through the left. Ooh, very interesting sensations on that side. And then bring it back down. Good. And then we'll bring the foot back and bring the hand back to the other side. So lining it back up with the hip. Coming back into our low lunge. And from here, we'll inhale and sweep the arms up, reach for the sky, maybe even a slight back bend here, pulling the right hip back. And exhale, bring the hands back down to frame the right foot. Come up on the left toes. Slide the right foot back, come to our plank pose, wide through the shoulders, through the shoulder blades, sending energy out through the heels. So feel that pressing down through the heels as we lift up through the shoulder blades. And keeping that long back, feeling that straight back like you're pressed up against a board. We'll slowly lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, lift up into cobra. Tip the chin a little, dip the chin a little. Exhale, or float down. Tuck the toes under. And exhale, press up through plank. High and back to downward facing dog. Shake the head out. Lift up through the sit bones, through the hips as they reach a little bit higher. Then slide the left foot forward between the hands. And we'll do our lizard pose on this side. So we'll slide the left foot out to the side and bring the left hand to the inside of the foot. Drop down onto the right knee and then ease into our little motions through the hips on this side, working into the hips this way. Again, maybe making those infinity signs. If you can picture your hips circling one way, coming through center, and then circling the other way, drawing that infinity sign. Or just move side to side, whichever works best for you. And then we'll come back to center with it, come back to stillness rather, and press the right hand down and lift up through the left hand and twist open towards the left. Drawing the left rib cage up to the sky. Exhale, bring the hand back down. And inhale, lift up through the right hand. Twist open to the right, which feels really awkward. And then come back down. Lift up on the right toes, slide the right foot back. We'll pause here for a moment in plank. And then bring the left knee down. Take the right heel, we'll press it down as we begin to open the hips towards the right. Lift up through the right arm and reach it over the ear, coming into a gate pose variation. And taking the hand up high and then reaching it over like a rainbow over the right ear. Reach for the front wall. That's your front wall. And then we'll take the hand back up and lift this right foot and bend the right knee. We'll grab the right ankle, coming into a little kneeling quad stretch. Oh yeah, that feels good. Feeling the front of that right thigh, getting a nice stretch. We'll take a few breaths here. And then slowly we'll let that right foot go and come back to all fours. Take a breath here and know what you feel. Long, flat back, flat through the back of the neck. We'll set up for our gate pose variation on the other side. So we'll stay rooted on the right hand and the right knee. And then first we'll take the left foot And come down onto the left heel as we begin to twist the hips open towards the left, lifting up the left hip, reach up through the left hand. And we'll look up towards those left fingertips, and then take the hand up over the head, over the ear, making our rainbow and our gate pose variation on this side. And then we'll bring the hand back up and back around so that we can lift the left foot, bend the left knee, grab that left ankle, get our quad stretch on this side. Pressing away with the left ankle as we pull in with the left hand. Feeling all along the front of that left thigh, from the hip all the way down to the knee. Take one more breath. And then slowly release the foot and lower all the way back to our all fours. And then sink the elbows down to where the hands are. And keeping the hips over the knees, we'll sink the chest down, coming into our puppy pose. Letting the heart space melt down to the ground. And then lifting up with the hips and the sit bones, lifting up through the belly. Then walk the hands back as we walk the hips back, coming back into a child's pose. Sinking the hips back towards the heels. And then we'll plant the elbows down and reach the elbows a little bit farther in front of you. Bring the hands together, press the palms together, and then bring them over your head, back behind your head. Really reaching through the elbows, reaching them forward, giving a nice stretch on the back of your arms, the underside of your arms, and your triceps. And then breathe here. Breathe into that space. And you can have your knees either together or out a little wider. We'll take another breath here. And then bring the palms of the hands back down. And we'll press back up to all fours. And then slide onto your hips. We'll come to seated. We'll take one leg out wide and one foot will tuck in. And reach up through the right foot. We'll have the right foot out wide. And then press both sit bones down into the ground and lift up through the crown of the head. Reaching up really tall through the crown of the head. We'll shift over to look at those right toes. Sliding that right hip back a little bit. And then really lift up through the crown of the head. Slide the chin back a little bit in space. Our heads tend to be a little bit forward head posture. So we'll try to line that back up over the shoulders. And then keeping that long back feeling, we'll start to tilt through the pelvis, keeping the long back as we press forward a little bit towards the toes, but trying to keep the back really flat. So we're not really trying to reach the toes necessarily, not trying to round over. We want to keep it really, really flat. So that may just be like an inch. That's okay. We'll take another breath in this position. And then we'll take the hips and torso back to the front and swap legs. We'll send the left foot out long, bring the right foot in, lift up those left toes up towards the ceiling, and then shift your hips so that we face the left toes. And then really, really get tall, get really, really long. So really feeling the crown of the head reaching up towards the sky, the head like sliding back in space. So if you can imagine your ears over your shoulders and really feel into that place. And I'm grabbing hold of my ankle here and my left leg to kind of help pull me up a little bit straighter. And you can do that as well if that's helpful. And then keeping that flat back feeling as we start to kind of press the chest forward, really go slowly so you can feel the pelvis tilting forward with you and keeping that long back feeling. So we're not even going that far still again, because we don't want to get to the point where we need to round. So if you feel yourself rounding through the low back or the upper back, we're going to stop and back up just a little bit to keep that long back feeling. And you might be feeling this quite a bit through the low back muscles on either side of the spine. The spinal muscles there that run along either side of your low back, QL muscles, quadratus lumborum. You might be really feeling that there to help keep this flat back. Or you might be feeling it through the left hamstring here, down here maybe. Whatever you're feeling, just observe and breathe into that. And then we'll walk back up to center. Bring both knees in, or bring both feet in. Come back to our butterfly, and we'll flap our butterfly wings just a little bit here. Good. And bring the knees together. Slide to face the short edge here. Hug the knees into the chest in our seated position, and then slowly lower all the way down onto the back. And land on your hand there. Sink into the ground for a moment. Take any wiggling and jiggling that feels good to help you come back down to the ground. And take a few breaths here as we reorient our body towards laying down. And press the shoulders down into the mat. Feel as you press the shoulders down into the mat, feel them widening through the collarbones, through the front of the shoulders. And we'll pulse here a little bit, pressing the shoulders down. 10, 9, 8, 7, just moving the shoulders. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just release them. And then take the back of the head and press that back of the head back down into the ground in those same pulses. Press it down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, really feeling the muscles in the back of the neck. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax and release. And then hug the knees into the chest. Make little circles with the knees one way and then the other. And reach for the outside of both feet. We'll pull the knees down, lifting the tailbone up high into our happy baby pose. Making little motions with the feet, as if our little baby was rocking a little side to side, pulling one foot down and then the other. Working into the hips. And hug the knees into the chest again. Grab the tops of the knees, the kneecaps. And on our inhale, we'll squeeze them a little bit closer. And then exhale, straighten the elbows. Inhale, draw the knees to the chest. Exhale, straighten the elbows, the knees fall away. Inhale, bring the knees in. Exhale, knees fall forward. One more time. Inhale, draw them in. And exhale, let them fall forward. And we'll hold here for a moment, if that feels good. It feels really good right now. And then let the feet fall down. Flat, release the knees. And we'll take the arms up overhead and reach up over your head, back behind your head. And then slide them out wide to a T and drop the knees over to the right. And take the left hand and swing it over to clap the right hand. And then slide the left hand past your right fingertips. And then we're going to draw a big circle with those left fingertips. So we'll take the left fingertips, press them down into the ground, reach up overhead, and then roll the fingertips, even as we keep the knees where they are. Take the left fingers in a big rainbow over your head and then back out to the side, back out to our T. And then breathe here for a few breaths. Draw the knees back to center. Lift the hips, reset the spine, and take a breath. Really release through the low back. Let those muscles go. And then shift the hips slightly to the right. Drop the knees over to the left. And then we'll do the same arm motion on this side. This time we'll take the right hand up and over to clap the left hand. And then slide it on past the right fingertips. And then slide it along over your head as we start to tip the right hip back, but keeping the knees and everything still over to their left side. Right hand sweeps up overhead in a big rainbow until finally it comes back out to a T, out to the right side. And then breathe into this supine twist. Letting the low back release. Getting to elongate the breath. Feeling the pace slow as we inhale and exhale. And roll the knees back to center. Lift the hips, reset through the spine. And take any movements here that feel good to help set up for a comfortable resting pose. Maybe rolling through the head or the wrists, tick-tocking the knees, feet. And as you're ready, you'll slowly lower the feet all the way out long. Letting the hands lay comfortably at your side, palms up. Snuggling the shoulder blades just a little, not pulling them, but just snuggling them under the heart. Letting the feet open up wide. And then every breath, as you exhale, allow yourself to sink a little bit deeper down into the ground. Feel your body begin to widen The forehead begins to widen as if the temples could slide down to your ears. The tongue drops away from the roof of the mouth and the jaw relaxes. The ears relax. The sides of the neck relax. The shoulders soften. As you move down the arm down to the elbow, you feel that elbow soften. As your attention slides down from the elbow down to the wrists, you feel the wrists begin to get heavy, and all 10 fingers just melt into the ground. And bring your attention to the shoulder blades. Allow them to sink a little bit deeper. A space behind your heart softens and widens and melts into the ground. You move down into the belly. Really allow your belly to fill up with the inhale, letting it widen and fill up like a big balloon. And then the balloon deflates with every exhale. Each exhale, releasing the low back a little bit more. Feeling the hips widening and softening. Feel where the bones make contact with the ground. And let them root down into the ground. Each thigh begins to soften, like it could just melt right into the earth. The kneecaps soften, no longer needing to hold you up. They sink a little bit deeper. Feeling where the calves connect to the ground and allowing them to be heavy. Moving down to the feet. Feeling each toe begin to soften. Let the whole body sink a little bit deeper and feel the earth rise up to meet you as if you're being held by the earth. Take a few breaths here, feeling that support of the ground beneath you. And slowly begin to bring movement back to the fingers and the toes. Smaller movements, and then beginning to slowly, gently make the movements travel, maybe a little bit bigger. Eventually drawing both knees up and rolling onto one side. Making a pillow with your arm. And take a moment to gratitude for your body and your breath, these practices, and the dedication it takes to be here and be present. As you're ready, press yourself back up to seated. Take a moment and notice how you feel.